Yep. This is King Simon. We're having a good time playing some good music. Thank you very much. You can take it down, take it down. We want to start on time. It's 7 o'clock. 7:03. 7 plus 3 is 10, so you know what that means. I'm a number one. I'm born on the 1st, so we started at 7:03. I like that. How you feeling, family? No matter how many people is here, we always about teaching and helping our people and guiding our people. First, before we get in, I want to thank, of course, everybody give a round of applause to Cool Breeze. Give Cool Breeze a round of applause. Cafe. I'm black again. See, no matter how many people show up, I always say, oh, look like my former wife. Yeah, here she goes. Hey, come on in, girl. Your mama. Come on in, child. Stop playing. I knew that was you. What's up? Hey, give her a round of applause, man. I shot you out already, she comes right on time. I love it. No, she's with the family here. She's with the family. All right, don't worry. Yeah, just sit down over there and says, I got you. Now, I know, right on time. What's a beautiful thing about disaster awareness and preparedness, family, is that I've been doing this for 20 years. And the only time that people come out in droves is when things has happened. So we have become reactionaries, people, instead of proactive. We got to be proactive in what we do. And as my former wife knows, she knows we've been studying this stuff, disaster preparedness, for years. Used to take Shayah, Kafani, and Jalil to Eitan Edwards classes when they was young. It was children, babies. And even when we was in the Nation of Islam, they promoted the messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, had a disaster preparedness program for the followers of the Nation of Islam, because he came out of that time, growing up in the 30s and those times where disasters were definitely inevitable, especially due to war and due to earthquakes and due to various other things. So those that are just listening, just listen to my voice on Facebook. I'm just, y'all not gonna see too much until, but what's happening. But I'm just doing something brief on Facebook. But at least people like the Honorable Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and all of the greats knew about different things and knew about the possibilities of disasters. Peace, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you, brother. So people knew the possibilities of disaster. Back in the day, they used to tell you, because war was going on, World War I, II, if you ever hear that alarm, you're supposed to jump under the table, put your knees to your chest, kiss your ass goodbye. That's how it's supposed to work. I'm just telling you, that's how it works. People don't even know. But that was a method, that was one of their methods of, just in case of a bomb drop, the atomic bomb drop, they tell children to go under the table. That's one of the protocols in case of debris and all that kind of stuff. No, they didn't say kiss your ass goodbye. I just having fun. Don't laugh at me, brother. But I try to have fun with what I do because I'm not paranoid. A lot of people are promoting paranoia. A lot of the preppers out there that are promoting paranoia, when if you're prepared, you can at least offset a lot of the disaster foolishness that's going on. Like, I would not check myself into a big dome because I know the dome would succumb to FEMA. And I'm not with the Federal Emergency Management, although I've worked with them in some capacity, but we are a non-governmental entity. And our organization is called the International Preparedness Network. Y'all can write that down. International Preparedness Network, or we call ourselves the IPN. Before I get and bring in some of my guests here, and Our website, just in case of emergency, or you want to find out different information, the seismic information that's coming in from different parts, different sciences, because our brother Eitan Edwards, who wrote this book, Preparedness Now, our brother, it's a brother who's been doing it for 30 to going on 40 years throughout the world. And anytime there's a disaster, they found this brother to go and interview on MSNBC, Fox News, all of that. He's done all of the major radio station networks. And you write his name down, Eitan Edwards. His book is called Preparedness Now. It's our manual. It's not just a book. It's a manual. Sister got it? You can order it on Amazon. I'm really not here to sell nothing. That's why I didn't bring a bunch of books. I just brought the stuff that I have in my archives. Her sister brought what she has in her archives, which I do have also. And I just wanted to bring some that FEMA gives for free. FEMA has a whole page and menu on disaster, because that's why it's called the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Now, we've heard all of the conspiracy stuff and the this and the that and all that stuff, and I'm not going to say it's not true. I'm just going to say that they have to give you the rye bread with the ham sandwich. What do I mean by that? That the rye bread is good, but the ham sandwich is dangerous. And you got to be careful when you're eating that ham sandwich with rye bread. And that's what I'm trying to say. Now, the information in here is good because they promote to their people as well as they try to teach our people, but our people ain't get it yet. And I'm talking about original people, melanated people, Moorish people, Kemetic people. They ain't get it yet. Some have, some have not. And that's why disaster preparedness has become real far and few. This is what I've done for 20 years. Ask my former one here, my son here. I've done this, and I still carry my gear everywhere I go. It has not been a problem for me. And usually I stay with just this because I'm in a New York City metropolis, and sometimes you need certain things, and we'll talk about that. And the Life Gear, that's a good website to go and get certain things. Life Gear, Life Straw. You go to them websites, you find some real good stuff. And in the back of Eitan's book, he provides every known website for every good thing that you need to carry with you at all times. We even dress for preparedness. If I don't have my steel-toed sneakers or shoes, gotta have the cotton, gotta have the natural material in case of fire, because it don't burn through natural materials faster. You know, now this is acrylic, I will tell you that. But this under here is cotton, 100%. So it's good to wear the hemp, it's good to wear the wool, it's good to wear those. Now you wear polyester. When the two sisters, if the flames hit the two sisters, well, it's gonna get burned out. I'm just gonna let you know. I've been in the club and seen that happen. Looking like Richard Pryor, right? Walking through and running through. Rest in peace, Rich. I know, my brother. But it's just real. And I'm trying. Like I said, I like to have fun with it because Eitan, when he does it, he's had fun, but he's gotten real hardcore. And my brother Eitan, he might be watching right now. Big up to you, sir. But let me tell you, this man is like, who's seen MacGyver back in the day? Who heard of MacGyver? Eitan is like MacGyver. He has turned his outfit into disaster preparedness where you wouldn't even know if he walked in here if he had his gear, because he's not carrying this. He's an engineer. He studied under Kaku, Michio Kaku, Dr. Michio Kaku, physicist, and different other people, and he studied this for many years just because of one thing his father said. He said one day, as he was driving out of the city, this place is going to be up in flames. You're going to be looking in the back. And he was like 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. He told his father, who's a former Marine, his father told him that one day that city is going to be up in flames. And he lived to, it's so ironic. And I'm talking about Eitan because he's a dear brother of mine, born June the 7th, same day as Prince. Prince was also a preparedness expert. I want y'all to know Prince also studied with brother, knew the brother very well, and various other people. And we have a thing called Ready Up that we're about to present to the world on a major scale. But I say this about Eitan because Eitan has been a genuine brother to all of us in our community for many years. He's done it without money. He usually charged more for the other people than he would charge for us. This same price that you hear, that's probably what he'll, or he'll say $10. Back in the day, it was like 10, and then we take you on. Then if you ask for the field work, then we'll bring in the field crew that we do an all-day, 2-day, 12-day class, 2-day, 12-hour class, where you got to know the dynamics of every tool in your kit. And I'm not selling you a kit, because at the end of the day, this program is a self-reliance program. The emphasis is on what? Self. You. Reliance. Doing it for yourself. Me and my son went over to look at some property today, some land, and what we found. What did we find on the land? What did we find on it? Dandelions. You got to know how to recognize those food out there just in case supermarkets and stuff shut down. You got to know. Oh yeah, I'll be the only one picking dandelions up and wild cabbage and wild callaloo in the parks and all that kind of stuff. I watch the Asians in New York walk up and down the street and do this. And then sell it back to us for $1 a bushel. I've seen this. In New York City. Dandelions, right along, you say, oh, dogs piss on it and all that. Dogs piss on what? You don't know what you're being served when it comes on the produce line inside the supermarket. How are they giving you chemicals? And you concerned about the dog pissing on it? Man, wash that thing off and soak it overnight and drink that, eat that darn thing. Because, I say this because, I know, you all right, Amir, over there? You all right? All right. I say this because at the end of the day, it's about survival. And if he has to eat, the little ones have to eat, you're going to have to feed them. Or he's going to make noise and complain. So before I'm gonna bring on a few friends and family to say before I get into what, because I can get in, I can keep on going. I'm going to do some drawings and some stuff out here just to show you what it is to be a cell. Because each one of you become a cell. I'm not talking about the Arab cell and the terrorist bullcrap. I'm not talking about that. Each one of us become an autonomous, self-reliant being that you can't depend on somebody else. That's why you have to teach your family how to do this. And if they follow you, that's all right. If they don't follow you, that's all right. I remember bringing in a whole bunch of people into my mother's house to teach them, all my family. And not one of them still does the same, follow or inquire about this anymore. Because they came from Jamaica and, they had their little disaster program. But the disaster program in Jamaica is totally different than what you're dealing with in the urban cities like New York and all that stuff. Totally different. So they understand storing rice and beans and all that kind of stuff. We used to do all of that in Jamaica. I store water. I know to procure water and get certain herbs. Ting. But you're laughing. You see where I come from, right? So that's what it is. But without, before we get into that, I definitely want to invite the owner here who happens to be a prepper. Now, she may not dress like one of them preppers y'all seen on them TV shows. All right, now, we know what we got back here. We got a whole stock of at least a mile high of beans ready for you and all this kind of stuff. Don't forget the gun. We got the gunpowder and the beans ready. And don't forget, we all got these now. They got doomsday stuff. And one more thing before I bring on. We did Comic-Con. Aton and a crew of us. I couldn't make it that day, but our crew went up there to Comic-Con. We had to conduct the seminar for zombie apocalypse. And Aton is good at that. He watched all the zombie movies back in the day. So the zombie apocalypse, and the place was overpacked that we couldn't let people in. More white folks than us. Because they understand what has happened on this earth and what they've been doing on the earth and what they need to prepare for. Even sun rays and solar this and all that. Nature is going against them. So just stay focused, family. And it's all right. Wherever you start, if you haven't started yet, start now. Start tomorrow. Start wherever you can begin. And that's all I can say to you when it comes to disaster preparedness. But I'm going to bring on our dear friend and the owner and proprietor of Cool Breeze Cafe. Give her a round of applause. Jasmine Little, give her a round of applause. Yes, how you doing, girl? She just won the council right here. She just won the Stone Mountain Council member. Give her a round of applause. Congratulations, my sister. She made it. Read the numbers. I told her she was gonna do it.
Ain't no record numbers.
No, I'm talking about the numbers, the numerology. Remember we talked about it.
You're right. How's everybody? Welcome to Cool Breeze Cafe. I think most of you have been here before. Welcome. All right, so I'm going to give you a brief introduction to Cool Breeze, and I'm going to tell you how I got into disaster preparedness, prepping, or just being prepared. Not a real prepper, like I don't have what he was saying about all the jars on the walls and things like that. I know how to, collect seeds and things like that, but not as extreme as you see on television. 4 years ago, my life changed. I was pregnant with a child and just lost my mom. I lost my mother to diabetes. She was only 48 years old. I knew two things: her lifestyle contributed to the loss, and that I could not continue down the downward spiral my parents laid out. My dad died when I was 12 from heart failure, and he was only 38. Yes, this story may sound saddening, and it created the life as I know it today. I began to watch documentaries. Who knew the rabbit hole was so deep? I learned that diseases are dis-ease within the body and completely preventable. But wait, let's fast forward just a little to the birth of my youngest. 1 week after having her, I couldn't breathe. I went to the hospital and I was diagnosed with pneumonia. Wrong. I had postpartum cardiomyopathy, heart failure. Unfortunately, there are no specialists in the hospitals on Independence Day. So after learning that I had heart failure, I started doing research, started watching, again, more documentaries as to how can I prevent my own situation. And I learned that I did not have to continue the medication that I was being given. I started, with the assistance of the doctor, changing my diet, focusing on more plant-based foods and things like that. As he stated, the foods that you get on the side of the highway that you get from the cab farmers market and things of that nature. And I, to this day, 4 years later, do not take any medication.
Yeah.
So what does that have to do with my preparedness? Watching documentaries. How many of y'all watch documentaries? Like, where did y'all, okay, I want, real quick, where did you start? Like, what was the first documentary and then it just spiraled down?
The first one was like the Straw Man.
Okay. Documentary, first documentary.
Man.
I had to say Dr. Ray Hagen and Dick Gregory.
Okay.
Fat, sick, and nearly dead. Absolutely. What do you think? King Kong. Anybody else? You don't remember the first one?
That guy, some people want
Mine was, yes. No, I spiraled into that one. I wasn't started. I started with Vegucated because I was like, how can I prevent diabetes and heart failure and all this other stuff? And then I was like, what is all these documentaries? This is related. And then like 30 hours later, I've watched half of Netflix. But that led me into prepping, because then I started learning about chemtrails and manipulation of weather and how all of these things are controlled, and how how all these things are controlled. So by watching that, I said, well, how can I prevent the same way I'm trying to prevent heart failure, diabetes, and things like that? How can I prevent us from being stuck without having a car, or having to go to the grocery store when there's a hurricane coming, or when there's something like that? Zombie apocalypse, never know. So I started watching more documentaries, and then I learned, oh wow, the food is, how can I have enough food? So I started prepping. We bought for Mother's Day, I got a prepping bag because I'm that person. That's what I get for Mother's Day. That's what I asked for. I got a book bag that had MREs, water, things like that could sustain my family of 5 to get through a 3-day situation. That was just the first step. Then we started getting tools. Then we started learning how to, take care, keep water and things like that. So right now we have basic things, such as we have certain tools in our cars that we keep in both cars. We have a route. We know exactly where we would be if something was to really happen that was needing us to leave the city. We have, again, MREs, waterproof lighters, dryer lint to help start fires. Okay. But those are the basic things that we keep in our bug out bag. In our society, we become accustomed to running to the store for anything that we need. Modern conveniences are just that, convenient. They shouldn't be our livelihood. In the camping section at even Walmart, you can get a simple bag that will be at least a starter pack. Online and sporting goods stores, you can get a pack for at least that will carry you once individual for at least 10 days. On top of all of those things, we need to start learning how to have a green thumb, planting the basic things that we need so that we don't have to be dependent on the grocery stores. Like you said earlier, what if you can't go to the grocery store? What if the grocery store is not stocked? What if it's been 10 days? What are you going to do next? How many of you have asked that question? How many of you have enough to get through 3 days? Anybody? 3 days? 10 days? 30 days. Anybody have enough to get 30 days? Okay. So with the example that we just had with the hurricanes that just came through, you look at Texas, you look at the Keys, you look at Puerto Rico. I mean, Puerto Rico being the worst because they didn't get the assistance as quickly as some of our other neighbors did. We have to be prepared for those kind of conditions, at least know how to live through them, know how to take care of our children, our family members, have a way to get out. Puerto Rico, you really can't because you're surrounded by water, but at least have a plan in place that if something like that was to happen, you are prepared. In TV shows and movies such as The Day After Tomorrow, The Book of Eli, The Walking Dead, I Am Legend, and 2012, we see that the strongest survive. Yeah, I'm quoting movies and TV shows because how many of you can guarantee that none of this will ever happen? We have and always will be experiments in the game of life. Until we learn to play chess like the masters, moving strategically, it will be the only thing that will make us successful. You can't make your shield while you're on the battlefield. Yet that is a constant in our situation. Stop making your shield on the battlefield.
Give a round of applause again. Give another round of applause. Yes, it's good to have store owners. As a matter of fact, all of the store owners should be, tell you the truth, along Main Street. You know, very important that they do that. But without any further ado, I got my son here that's going to speak on investment for a brief moment about what you would be secure to invest in. You know, I've been telling him about precious stones and gold and silver and all that kind of stuff. I hope he's ready. Oh, I know you only got a few minutes. Don't worry, I'll probably get into it more. But one thing I've learned in this disaster preparedness community is about barter. There's times when you're going to have to barter, so you don't have to sell yourself or yourself. Most time, it's the women that ends up selling themselves to save their life during these times. Look at the movie, The Book of Eli. Trying to sell herself to him, and he smelled a rat. Or trying to, those type of things happen. Pay attention because Phil Valentine, KT the Arts degree, spoke on movies, especially Phil back in the day, spoke on movies and paying attention to the science instead of the fiction. That's why it's called sci-fi, because they spend millions of dollars to produce these movies. Obviously, they're doing their research for the science. The fictitious exaggeration is the hero, the white man is the real hero of this whole thing, and there's only one, there's a Jesus story and all that, but the science is clear. Now, how many of you watched Total Recall when it was Arnold Schwarzenegger? Back in the day, this is 90. Some of y'all, you remember, I know about VHS. We go back, right? Coming to America. But remember, and those who, I think y'all should watch it. I'm not talking about the new one. I'm talking about the old one. Go download it on Netflix and check it out. The body scans going through the airport 20-something years ago. And then now we have those body scans. Now, they teach through their pictorials, their pictures. Pay attention, because Phil and KT will tell you they spend enormous amount of money for a reason. I've worked on Spike Lee's movie set with Martin Scorsese, and they will say if it's about Cafe Breeze, Cool Breeze, they will set it up just like Cool Breeze in Hollywood. They will set it exactly to the whole decor. I mean, even if the garbage can is tilted, they'll set that up. That's how they deal with things, and that's how they research things. But without any further ado, before we get into that, my brother, my young man who was rolling with me at the Black Power Awards, give a round of applause to Shayah Brown. Give him a round of applause. Don't worry, Facebook, we're coming to you.
Thank you.
Don't be afraid of that mic. Put it up.
Well, of course, like my father said, of course, precious metals like gold, silver, maybe even stuff like copper, and will be great to hold on to. But one thing I definitely want to state with this, in this presentation is I talk in my team financial stability workshops. I talk about entrepreneur over your savings, and it's important to make sure you pay yourself first, meaning that put money aside for just in case of emergencies. It's always important. Make sure that you have something aside. Different financial advisors, like whether it's Dave Ramsey, or if you read in certain books like The Richest Man in Babylon, a lot of them would say it's important to first of all pay yourself first. And Dave Ramsey also talks about we talk about making sure that you have about 3 to 6 months of your money put to the side for your expenses. So I just definitely want to make sure that I state that. And yeah, so that's mainly what I wanted to what I really wanted to touch on, because it's definitely important to make sure you have of course something of value, some money aside for important for disasters. Whether it's something as great as a natural disaster, or if it's something like where you get into a car accident, or family or friends get hurt, or whatever the case may be. You want to make sure you always put something aside for yourself, just in case of any type of emergency. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring King Simon back up here.
No problem. Give him a round of applause. No problem.
I give y'all permission to go buy more jewelry, by the way.
Yeah, I have a friend in New York. Named Unc Rising Sun. He might be on here too. Okay. That he says, if you're gonna have a pistol, make sure you have a crystal. If you're gonna have a pistol, make sure you have a crystal. Former Marine himself, but he understands the spiritual dynamics, because this is not just physical. This is a spiritual thing. And like Khalid Abdul Muhammad used to say, Dr. Khalid, who was a dear friend of mine, used to say that the spiritual and the physical work in unison together, that you would not know the physical if the spiritual didn't work through it. And the spirit of disaster preparedness begins again with you. Now, if you notice that circle with all that what's out there, now, you're not going to see that, but you will see the PowerPoint, Facebook. Yeah, I will see the PowerPoint. It's like a mitochondrial DNA, because every DNA that we have in our body, or a cell in our body, has that mitochondrial DNA, and it can actually replicate another person. So when I say cell or be a cell, I'm saying understand the concept and understand the concept of being a cell. When they talk about cells being able to turn on and do what they got to do throughout society, when disaster hits, each one of you have to become a cell. Whether it's me, whether it's my children, the children's mother, my grandson one day gonna have to be a cell. So the more he learned about things like this. I gave him 2 of these. I gave you 2 of these, right? Don't worry. This is for Isaiah. This is for Isaiah. Okay, this is your cousin. So that's why I bought those communication tools as far as to help start training children, and especially if you plan on having children. During times of disasters, I don't care what color you may be. I don't care what creed you may be. I don't care what you may be. All that runs out the door when disasters hit. Then you get back to your racism after you settle and you're calm. But all that runs out the door, because if you're hanging off of a mountain and a European come and get you, you're going to want to get up off of that hand reach out to come and get you. You're going to want to get. I've seen it in too many disaster scenarios where people are stuck on floods. You see them on top of the chair, like off the top of the car, like, yo, help me. You know, they there. And they can't wait for the helicopter to come. They can't wait for the boat ride to come. They can't wait for the emergency response team to come. The CERT team. Sometimes a civilian emergency response team. You should form one in this community. The Civilian Emergency Response Team. That's what CERT, C-E-R-T, that is the acronym for Civilian Emergency Response Team. You need to form one in every community. And every child, young person should know how to do this. Now I'm going to run through a few things as far as the slides, so you can take notes. And it's going to cover a lot of majority of what's up there. I'll break down the acronyms KISS and SEER in between a lot of, but KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That's all KISS means. Keep it simple, soldier, or keep it simple, stupid. Everything you do should be kept simple and stupid. That means if you buy a gun, make sure you know how to pull it apart and put it back together. Whatever tools you have, hey, you laughing, but every tools you have, make it simple, that even a child can use it. It's all right, laugh. But you know I ain't joking.
No, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. That's right. Keep it simple, stupid. Listen to the whole thing, Amir. It's keep it, K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, soldier, or keep it simple, Shayah, or keep it simple. Keep it simple. SEER. It's the old military thing. SEER is survival, evade, resist, and escape when it's time. Because we might have to do that, depending on who we're going up against, especially if it's civil unrest. A lot of people don't think about civil unrest. A lot of people don't think that it might be a race war one day. Survival, survive, escape, resist, and escape. I'm sorry, survive. I mixed it up. But the SEER principle is very important. Survive, evade, resist, and escape. Some of us has to learn how to be stealthy. What do I mean by stealth? You got to know how to move undercover. Sometimes there's reasons why they send women in for espionage or as spies. Because sometimes women can get in where men can't get in. That's why you got things like Black Widow and the Avengers. She can get in where she can, and she can take the whipping and take the beating. And that's why people like Dr. Blair says women are a bit stronger in certain sense when it comes to pain endurance. But if you're trained from a child like these German women were, or certain women were, like a Romanoff, like the Black Widow in the Avengers. That's why I say pay attention to the movies, because they're telling you stuff. The movie Salt with Angelina Jolie. Pay attention to the movies. They're telling you what they've been making. And read. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. That's true. That's right. You got to listen to the ancestors coming through them. I like that. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay? Thank you. He's right. Readers are leaders. But when it comes to movies, it's definitely important. It's not about the cartoons, because they're teaching you stuff in the cartoons too. But it's very important that y'all pay attention to the movies that are coming out, especially in the last 10 to 15 years, because the technology is there for it now. They're now in the technological age of Aquarius, so they're using it. And those who watch that Iron Man movie, when his father was on the screen, and he was looking at his father on film, and he said, Tony. He didn't know his father was going to talk to him. Purposely doing that, or you must know something. But he didn't know his father was going to talk through the screen and talk to him about technology and how he was not, his time was not ready for what's happening then with Howard Stark to what Tony Stark needed to do now in the future, that technology is advanced. And he knew that Tony would be the one who would advance the technology for Stark Enterprise, which Tony Stark is like Elon Musk.
What's a Musk?
Listen, hey, just relax. Elon Musk is one of the richest engineers in the world. Study who that man is, right here in America. Elon, E-L-O-N, Musk, M-U-S-K. Study those billionaires, those people you call nerds that are doing certain things scientifically and medically and all that, with Bill Gates putting stuff into Africa and certain injections and sponsoring these things. They're doing it for a reason. Population control, things like that. The King Alfred plan, the Rex 84, the Rex 84 plan, the Rex 83, the Homeland Security. All this is was where we at right now. Not to be paranoid, just to be prepared and be alert. That's all. Then you know what to do. Okay, don't go into hospitals and have birth. Become midwives and doulas again, because we're only 150, only about 200 years into hospice and hospitals. That's all we are. So before that, what we were doing? We squatting and letting it out. We forgot how to do these things again. Soon as a little pain comes in, women run to the doctor, all kinds of stuff. They go to the doctor to give their whole, and then we forget about Henrietta Lacks, where they took the blood cells of this woman and still using it to this day. Black women, those that are on Facebook, listening to me too. Y'all are the most scientifically studied people in the world. Black men, you are the most scientifically studied people on the world. They used to put y'all on tables without anesthesia and take from you. So you got to protect what's yours. You got to protect your blood, your bloodline, your DNA, because that's what they're doing. It's not about being paranoid, it's about being prepared. Prepare. And enjoy while you're preparing. I used to go to nightclubs with my gear. But I ran the nightclub or I did the party, so they never searched me. Or I kept it in the car. And I knew all the exits in Madison Square Garden and everything. I don't smoke, I don't drink. I knew all the exits. Wherever I went, Madison Square Garden. Matter of fact, we was at the Black Power Awards. I knew all the exits there. I knew all the security breaches. I seen all the security breaches at the award show. I seen all the security breaches at Buju Banton's reggae show and Barris Hammond's reggae. I seen all the breaches because I don't stand still. And I'm not paranoid. I'm funny. Yes, I know where I'm going. I'm passing people. Yeah, man, what y'all say? They don't know I'm checking out exits, how to get the heck out. They don't know this. But I'm hailing everybody up and showing them love because they know me from radio and television, whatever they know me as. I know that's me. I chased the entertainment world at one time. But let's get to the program. Y'all gonna see this PowerPoint Facebook real quick. I'm not gonna give you all of it, but I'm gonna give them, the people that's in the audience, all of it, of course. Again, this is my society or my division of the IPN, which I and Aton name is called Keep It Simple Society. Keep It Simple Society, KISS Society. And it is a division of the International Preparedness Network, and my chief officer is Brother Aton Edwards, and my division for disaster awareness and preparedness. Log in, and if you get to, go to our website, readyforanything.org. That's our website, those that are tuning in. My email is kingsimonlive@gmail or kingsimonlive@gmail. Those who know my numbers, if you want any presentations, workshops, lectures on, of course, numerology, this, whatever, churches, I do church, I do mosques, I do temples, Hebrew temples, whatever. My number is 347-496-1022. As we continue. This presentation is in honor of my ancestors and your ancestors also, fam. And I say this in all due respect to every one of you that know your grandparents, those who, your great-grandparents that have gone through various things throughout their life. Because I know my grandmother and them came out of some hard times in the Caribbean. It was all good. And it's real to me as far as this is concerned. That's my grandmother, who was a midwife and a great nurse, RN, from out of Jamaica. And her family was from Cuba and Jamaica, but predominantly in Jamaica. That's where she's from. See, you see her delivering a baby. That's what she did, and I miss her. So this year she would have been 100 years old. You met her, right, Viola? You remember? Yeah, she would have been 100 years this year, and she was born June 22nd, 1917. And she is still on my altar of respect and love, and she comes to me every other month to tell me if I'm all right, let me know what's going on, tell me who's my haters, all that kind of stuff. I sit and talk to her, or I sit on her lap and she just caressed my head to let me know, because I was with this woman when she died on January 23rd, 1994. That is my grandfather on my mother's side. That's my grandmother on my father's side, who Papa was a self-made contractor that built most of the houses in Spanish Town, Jamaica. And even up to 103, he was still doing gardening and still doing his own plumbing. And he never had to work for anybody. He only worked through referral, supporting each other's business. If you learn how to make a shoe, you go to the shoemaker that's in your family. You go to the seamstress in your family. You go to the construction person in your family. You go to the midwife in the family, delivering the babies. And he built my aunt and her a midwifery in the backyard of her house. He built it for them. And then he gave it to my mother, which there is still up for sale in Jamaica right now because nobody's doing the midwife work. The house, 2 houses up for sale when they could just say, children, take it over. It's a nice place in Spanish Town. But because of no vision, where there's no vision, the people perish. That's the truth. Those who know about Vibes Cartel, he spoke about some houses on Stony Hill. It's $30 million that house on Stony Hill is now. My grandmother owned a house on Stony Hill with the mango trees and the coconut trees and the herbs and the soursop and all this there. And they sold it. Property is so important. That's why people like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, and people like Marcus Garvey and all of them talked about property and doing for self. If we would have listened to Garvey, those wheels that come from Firestone, we would have had the rubber in Africa. We didn't listen. So I commend and love my grandmother, Lillian Alberta Walters Scotland, really without the Scotland, but Alberta Walters, and my grandfather, Clifford Cornelius Hamilton, who's my mother's, and of course I love the Honorable Marcus Mosaic. Give him a round of applause. Give him all a round of applause, please. Put your hands together for it. My grandfather was a part of the UNIA and was a good friend of his, and used to go to the prison in GP, the General Penitentiary in Spanish Town, to go and protest to get him out back in the day. He told me this story at 99, and he even sang the song that they used to sing outside of the place to get Garvey out. I recorded him. I interviewed him. Interview your parents, family. Interview your grandparents if you still got them. Know who your grandparents are. Even if they're not alone, find out from their aunt, your cousin, your uncle, or something about them, because there was something about them that was so powerful that made them do what they had to do on this earth at this particular time when they came in. And I studied these people. I set up a midwifery connection called Laws, Natural Birth, and Care, where I connect people with different midwives and doulas throughout the community. Erica Badua's a doula. Queen Afua. These are a few sisters that I have up here. Sister Mary and Sister Saria. They're doulas, so I connect with. But you can call me, and I have at least 3 doulas and midwives in my phone all the time, just in case you need to. Y'all want to go to the hospital? If you feel you gotta go to the hospital, look, hey, go with a doula. And this is just a part of preparedness also, because we're bringing in life into this world. Y'all are bringing in life into this world, so it's very important that y'all understand that. Of course, again, that's the Keep It Simple Society. This is me, of course, King Simon Kwaku, because I'm born on Wednesday. That's the African name for a child born on Wednesday. Soul Preppers, that's what we call ourselves sometimes, the Soul Preppers, because we do it with soul. We do it with music sometimes. We have drummers and we be doing all kinds of stuff, having a good time. Having soul, that's our logo for our Soul Preppers. We be prepping, but we keep the soul in it. We keep the red, black, and green, as you can see in it. We keep that in it because you have to keep that type of stuff with us, because we was the first to do it before the Europeans. You think we didn't have earthquakes and all kinds of drought and all that? They talk about that in Kemet. They talk about it throughout all of the history, whether it be biblical history, Kemetic history, whatever history, they talked about the flood. Not just a flood, not a flood all around the world. The flood of Kemet is the one that represents the one all over the world, because that's all Europeans know. That's why they taught that in the Bible. But we're not getting into the religious part of it. That's crazy. It's a whole different thing. This is our brother Aton Edwards, and we practice a thing called What is IADO? And IADO, that's our brother there that started the whole system. He's the one that wrote the book Preparedness Now. IADO is Science of Human Survival. Science of Human Survival. This is what we teach in our class when we do hardcore classes. Now, first, IA means improvisational adaptation. IADO is a macrocosmically comprehensive emergency preparedness protocol that teaches dynamic methods of disaster mitigation and response that focus on the individual. First, like when you go on the plane and you know there's an emergency landing, what they tell you to do first? What they tell you to put on first when all the thing drops, right? Put your mask on first, and then you take care of who? The person next to you if they can't do it, or the baby. Individuals first. Do for self first, and then take care of everybody else. And we have a problem with just doing for self. We always want to give, this multicultural stuff has been pushed us out so much. We want to give them all of our money and do all of our time and give all of our everything to them instead of take care of us first, like the Jews and the Asians and everybody else. Read Powernomics. Read books like that by Claude Anderson. Preparedness for the individual. Preparedness begins by preparing for emergencies before they happen. The IPN uses a protocol called IA, improvisational adaptation, to provide practical structured methods of operation and direction. In other words, it is best to be prepared and not be in a situation than to be in a situation and not be prepared. And as Bruce Lee would say, expect the unexpected all the time. Wherever I'm sleeping, I was in a hotel the other day, my knife is next to me, my this is next to me, my that is next to me, I got my clothes ready to go if I have to get the heck out. Wherever I am, if I'm sleeping on the floor, that's how I set myself up. Preparedness now, and it's not paranoid. I'm not paranoid at all, because I still have fun and laugh with my children, laugh with my fans and friends and all the people. I still have fun, but I'm still aware of what's going on, and that's all I ask you to do. When you get into a program like this, be aware. Now, IA protocols. The most practical method of dealing with an emergency is by preparing properly for the destructive effects before they happen. Preparedness Protocol 2, IA Protocols 2. To prepare for any specific crisis, you must first begin with the individual. Each person must have a survival plan, survival skill, and inexpensive survival materials. Each one of us should have one. I'm in New York City. Sister used to live in New York. They used to live in New York. And you know, people in New York, they travel in these electrical trains. But yet, when the electricity goes out, no one has a flashlight. Me I do what they want in my hand when me a flashlight come out. And if you're not going to try to kill me for the flashlight, y'all going to follow me with the flashlight. The one-eyed man is king in a blind civilization. The one-eyed man is king in a blind civilization for real. IA protocols number 3, mitigation. Prepare a list of each disaster or emergency that is specific to your region. Hurricane, floods, earthquakes, forest fires, etc., etc. Beginning with the most frequent to the least. Preventative measures that are taken for each disaster are directly proportional to their frequency and inversely proportional to their average magnitude. We have a formula for it. P equals preventative measures, F equals frequency, M equals the average magnitude. So each one of us, in other words, prevention is better than cure, or prevention can lessen the stress that disasters can bring. My grandmother used to say prevention is better than cure. You know, prevention is better than cure. Why not learn to prevent a thing, a disease or some kind of ailment before you have to end up spending thousands of dollars to cure yourself from it? And it goes for disaster preparedness also. There's nothing wrong if you have a pantry in your house. Make sure you keep on bringing the beans and you keep on bringing the stuff. Keep on filling your house with more and more water. I don't care how much water, as long as you keep on cycling it up. They keep on cycling it every 3 to 6 months. As long as, if you got 20 bottles of 20 cases of water, always continue to fill, keep on putting that case on top. Keep on taking from another and keep on putting, always cycling. That's how we got to do it. That's preparing. And because water and air is the most important thing, we got to focus on that. Water and air. So we need to know how to either procure water or we need to know how to store water properly. Storing it in plastic that don't have a 7 on it. The plastic that don't have 7, you might see 2 now, 3. They said it's 2, it was good. Some people say it's 3. No, you have to have the water that has the marking of the 7. When I say 7, it might have that triangle look. Might have that triangle look, but it has to have the number 7 on it. That means that particular plastic that water is in, it doesn't degrade into the water just because heat is applied. That's why you got to be careful when you're drinking water and putting it in your car, because plastic degrades. And then the water system that's in New York or certain parts like here, of course they're doing chemicals. They have chemicals in it. Of course, you know, the chlorine and all that stuff is in it. Sometimes you smell it coming out of the pipe. And if you can't do it in plastic, get glass bottles and fill your water. As soon as you bring your water in, get glass bottles. Or get a solid steel pan to hold the water. Gallons, big 55-gallon cans of solid steel so you can at least have fresh water. Simple steps for urban survival. Facebook, y'all all right out there? I see y'all. I'm not going to keep y'all long because I'm going to go just drop y'all in a few. Y'all going to have to buy the DVD. I do have the DVD to this. First, and I wrote that here, projection. Anticipate and plan for unexpected emergency before they appear. Second, information. Increase your knowledge of emergency services available in your borough or district. Have all emergency numbers on hand, like poison control, water department, etc., etc. Number 3, reduce your chances of encountering dangerous situations by carefully evaluating potential hazardous circumstances. Number 4, psychology. When threatened by an emergency, always remember to keep a cool head, never panic. Fear has caused more problems during times of disaster that I've seen. I've been in situations, if y'all know Flatbush back in the 80s, Flatbush, Brooklyn, I've been in club situations where guns was pulled and shots was fired. Fear has gotten people killed faster than a cool head. And that's why they treat you. You got to learn to convert fear into something fear into focus. You have to learn to convert fear. It's all right to fear to a certain degree, but you got to learn how to breathe it out and it's time. Like when the World Trade fell, I was on the road coming from doing radio. I was on WWRL at that time, 1600 AM, and we was on the road that Tuesday, September 11th. And all we seen was this stream of smoke coming over the city. Me and the driver. First thing I just took a deep breath. I said, it's time. Then we started listening to the radio. Boom. One particular place got hit. Bang. Okay, people thought they were shooting a movie. People thought it was shooting movies. All that stuff thought that was happening. If y'all ever seen it, it looked like it was a movie. Everybody thought it was a movie. Until the second plane hit. And what's so ironic, my brother Aton used to live right over near the promenade, and you can see the World Trade right there like it was right across the street from the promenade, dropping. How is it that a brother that's practiced disaster preparedness for 30 years lived right there, and lived right there for a good 10 years with his former wife at that time, and get to see this? Because that was where he was supposed to be at that time, because he's been preparing for that moment all his life. Now, more simple steps. Defense. Family, the basic nature of any preparedness program is survival first. Never stay and confront danger, escape it. Because if you can't protect your gear, they're coming to take your gear. You can't protect your house, they're coming to take your house during times of disasters. Because that's when people get real frantic and start pillaging all types of house along the road unless the whole neighbor got it on lock. That's why I tell people your neighbor should know exactly what to do in case of emergency. Like, I think y'all have subdivisions, right? Out here. Subdivisions, all of them, everybody should have a meeting at least once every 3 months in your particular subdivision. Pass out flyers and say, look, we have a disaster preparedness. We just want to give information what we need to do just in case something happens. Just in case something happens. If this child is lost, somebody know where to take him. And at least we know how to check through all the different houses to know that this son is there, that child is there, and he's not being eaten or molested. You got to know these things. You got to know who you're living next to. How many of you know the person that lives on the right and the left of you? How many people know that? The people that live on the right and the left of your house. You got to know those people. Because you don't know what they're doing. You find a lot of Jeffrey Dahmers. You find a lot of molesters, Chester the molester with the cross. You don't know. If you Google on your phone right now, the molesters in this neighborhood, they'll come up. Google on your phone right now, the molesters in your neighborhood, and they will come up. Think about what I'm saying. In the event that you cannot, the basic nature of any preparedness program is survival first. Never stay and confront danger, escape it in the event that you cannot. The method, survival sometimes rests on the careful analysis of whatever particular crisis that you may find yourself in. You must develop a balance between the positive and negative aspect of your situation. Formulate a plan of action. Make your move and hope or pray for the best. Use your instincts. Use your instincts. Your intuition is the most powerful thing that the Creator gave you, and your ancestors worked through you. When people was in that World Trade, the people over the loudspeaker says, don't go nowhere. Stay where you're at. We have many people died because of that. The instinct told some of the people to get the hell out the building, especially after the second one hit. In this book, he described how a squeegee man, a guy, not a squeegee guy, but a guy who had one of those tools, he was one of the mechanics inside of the World Trade, was able to use one of his little squeegee tools and dig through the wall to get out of the elevator and all that. Because people jumped in the elevator. You're never supposed to jump in the elevator when there's a disaster that high. It's 110 floors. So we got to pay attention. Awareness is very important. Remain alert and well-informed at all times. Do not allow your guard to drop unless you are in a secure environment. Like I'm saying, when I used to go to clubs and these different places, my guard was always up until I knew everything what was going on. If you're still going out to social events, I don't care if it's here. I don't care if it's at the club I just seen across from the Chariot. I'll see a whole bunch of people there. I don't care if I was in there. I know where I'm going. I know the back exits. I know all of that kind of stuff. I'm not into it. I even talk to the security. And I'm from New York. I used to do security. Blah, 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 blah. I get to know them too. So they be trying to help you out. Security has helped me out many times because I know. And you got to learn to familiarize with people in those type of situations, just in case you get caught in that situation. Les Brown used to say, TTP, talk to people. Then he said TTMP, talk to more people after that. Talk to people. Get to know them. Get to know people in the environment that you're in. That's the only way we connected with Jasmine in her place, that we talked to her. I came in, I'm like, hey, hey, this is me. I'm like, how you doing? That's it. And that's how I am. I just talk to people. Final steps. Final simple steps. Fear. How many times you get afraid? What are you afraid of? Do you look at your mother for? Your mama, you're ready for your mommy and your daddy because they might whoop that backside, huh? What are you looking at? There's a certain kind of fear, yes. What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of
You don't have to tell him. No, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to your father. What are you afraid of?
When my daddy scares me and I yell really loud.
Okay. Well, you yell real loud like a girl. That's what? You're afraid of spiders? You arachnophobia? You afraid of spiders? Chill out. Relax. There ain't no spiders here. The spider went up. He go running. No. You would love a Nancy the spider. That's our history. But fear. That's my son, people on my grandson here on Facebook land. Fear, false evidence appearing real, right? Remember what fear means in an acronym? Fear is a natural reflex. If it is harnessed, fear can serve you well during an emergency. You must learn to control it, like I was saying earlier. Controlling fear. Control fear. Spiders are not here to hurt you. They're here to help you. Always remember that. See, once you understand the meaning of a thing, then you know what to.
But how are they here to hurt me?
They're not here to hurt you. They're here to help you.
I mean, how are they here to help me if they're biting me?
They're not biting you. They're looking for flies and everything else. So they're here for the ecosystem to keep the balance. That's what they're here.
One day, when my cousin Isaiah was here,
What happened?
I said, I can't wait until that brown goose get this dead fly.
The spider, you wanted to get the dead fly? That's what you wanted? Okay. You they're encouraging it. So you're encouraging the ecosystem and everything to work in balance, right? So you can't be afraid of it. No. Love it. And it will love you.
Why does it bite?
It ain't gonna bite you. Don't worry about that. All right? Now. Ain't gonna bite you. You ain't getting a tarantula. You getting a tarantula? All right. Technology. Love children. They something else. Learn about the technology of preparedness, survival equipment, weapons, etc. Many of the high-tech devices on the market today are absolutely useless and you must learn to separate the good from the bad. Health, that's up here too. Health. Obviously, any survival plan must include a comprehensive strategy for the maintenance of your health, physical and mental health. Because during times of disaster, we get exhausted. We get stressed. People's blood levels shoot up. If you got high blood pressure, you got to make sure you have whatever to calm it down. Or if you got low blood pressure, you got to make sure you have anything to balance it out. That's why I tell people that the program is a self-reliant program, because you can't just go buy a kit. Suppose you have diabetes and you need insulin. You got to know how to add to your kit. You got to know. You can buy the basics, no problem. Buy the basics. But you got to know what to add to it. If you need glasses, extra sets of glasses, extra medicine, all of that kind of stuff is important, especially in a health plan. Also, learning how to get the herbs and use certain herbs to stop bleeding, like turmeric or cayenne pepper stops basic abrasions and cuts. Turmeric and cayenne pepper. Then there's certain herbs that deals with stress, like marijuana. I'm not talking about smoking it. I'm talking about using it as an herb and drinking it as a tea. That's what we used to do in Jamaica back in the day. Drinking as an herb and smoke and not smoking it. This new stuff, I don't know what it is. Dandelions for nerves and liver and all kinds of stuff. Paying attention. Why you see cats and dogs eating wild grass? I know I've seen it in New York. It's a laxative. Wild grass helps to move whatever bowel movement they need to move out. They're not going to come to the juice bar and buy something to remove it out. You know what I'm saying? But they're going to go out here. They're going to go up and down. You start seeing them digging and scratching and eating, and they look like they're chewing straws and raw rubber. But they're doing it because they might feel sick. Especially them wild cats and wild dogs. You got to pay attention to nature. That's why if you look in any park and you see that the animals are nice and fat and juicy, that means the vegetation in there is good. You see them looking like a crackhead, you know something wrong in that park. They're killing them off. Pay attention. And like I was telling my son, that I've learned from people like Johnny Moore, great John Moore, he died years ago, and people like Azariah and people like Mfundishi, and these great people like Sister Yendez and Baba Rashan Abdul Hakim, who's from Sundial. That's a very good product to get, Sundial. He used to take us on walks throughout the parks. They'll tell you that if there's a poison here, 5 to 10 feet away is a cure. In the name, because that's how nature works. The balance. If you see a real good tree, a good male tree, I've seen male and female tree. And certain male and female tree you can identify. The male is straight up, all the way up, and the female, it goes straight up and then it splits. Like a vagina and a penis. Don't worry about it, bro. You're all right. Male and female. Then they have a certain way the leaves hang and all that, but you have to learn to identify what's going on. See, nobody knows this. But we did used to know this. That's what the problem is. We got amnesia. That's why we need a total recall, total recall, total recall. We need a recall. That's what happened to Doug, whatever his name is, the total recall. He needed a recall of who and what he was. And that's what we need as a people, of who and what we were. Disasters we may or have encountered. Woo! We got a lot. Let's go. I want to say something. This is one of the publishers of the book. It's in this book. It says, Hurricane Katrina, Irene, Sandy, 9/11 were wake-up calls. Authorities tell us that when disasters strike, everyone must be able to fend for themselves for at least 3 days. In preparedness now, those who may once have believed preparedness to be unnecessary, but now understand it as an essential foundation for informed and responsible living in the 21st century. This is the publishing company that published this book, but watch. Now, this is from Sally Quinn back in September 16, 2005. Hurricanes and other disasters in our region has shown us that the country is no more prepared for terrorist attacks today than it was on September 11, 2001. The question is what to do with that information. How do we protect ourselves and our families, knowing that the government is probably not going to protect us? They're not. They only focus on the main arteries. They don't focus on the internal stuff, the little veins and all that stuff in society. The main arteries are focused. Atlanta, they'll try to focus on. I watched that the demolition today while I was in the hotel. I was like, look at this. They demolished the Georgia Dome. I was waiting for dust and all kinds of stuff to come near the hotel, but it was a little further, so it didn't get to me. But I'm telling you, family, things like that, those demolitions and all that, even if you was next to that place, because it's an old dome, you should have your respiratory mask next while you watching this dome, because it could be asbestos in there, all kinds of stuff. Look how many people caught diseases and caught respiratory problems in the World Trade when it dropped. We're not thinking, but everybody's there, yeah, the dome down, they're partying over there. I ain't see not one mask. I ain't see I ain't see an improvised mask made with water and a rag over nobody's face. I ain't see nothing. They was partying. And then next minute, somebody next few years come up because they was in front of there. They got all this stuff in their lungs that's stuck in there. So we got to pay attention to that. Next. Oh, no. Preparedness now is more important than ever. This next one is by Ted Koppel. It was done August 30th, 2005. We don't like anticipating disaster. This is what Ted saying. Ted is saying this. It suggests pessimism, and America is largely a nation of optimists. But when you look at the damage inflicted by an accidental storm, you have to think about the sheer havoc that an international terrorist attack may produce one of these days. We want to believe that no one will ever use a weapon of mass destruction against us, against one of our cities, but it is almost inevitable that someone, someday, will. We don't like to hear that. None of us like to hear that. That's why this place ain't packed. When I did the numerology lecture, we had this place filled up. Because it's a little entertainment, but it's also helping to guide. People want guidance more than finding out what destruction is, what's going on. And this is all about guidance also, to help these young people. Because I ask any of these young people who go to school, have they ever been in a protocol, a disaster protocol in school? Have you ever heard them tell you what they need to do in a disaster? Have they ever told you anything in school? What they told you?
They told us that, like, what if there's a tornado? The tornado at school, we gotta get down.
Cover your head, or what else? That's it. Just stay down, right?
Yes.
Did they tell you to call your mama?
No.
They didn't tell you to call your mama, right? Okay, good. But in New York, they don't have none of these protocols. They have only fire alarms and get them out the building and all that kind of stuff. But in New York, they don't tell you what to do. They depend on FEMA. They'll tell you they depend on FEMA. Even the major churches say they depend on FEMA. Why? Don't worry. It's government. Don't worry.
Wait, they don't have tornado drills in New York?
They have fire drills, but they don't have no tornado drills. And now I remember going to my daughter's school, Ashley, at one time. She had I had to stand up and say, "Don't y'all have a protocol just in case everything gets shut down and all that?" I said, "No, they don't. They don't have a protocol. They don't think about these things anymore. Certain schools do. Jewish schools do. Muslim schools do. But public schools, they don't think like that. They only do the fire drill to get them out real quick, and that's it. But you got people playing on the line and doing all kind of foolishness. No. These children need to know even more than that in case their parents can't get to them, they got to keep them at the school. They got to know that this is what's going to happen. You got to keep them at the school. Some of them might have cell phones. They need to know who they got to go to next. That's why in the disaster preparedness book, we have our own evacuation list. So you got 5 different places of where you need to go just in case one place is compromised or the other place is compromised. The third place is available for your child to go or for you to go to find your child or whatever. So, and the whole family has to learn this thing. Everybody has to learn it. So, but it's almost inevitable someone someday, I read that, potential disaster take a position that it will never happen to us. Remember, the government has what we call the COG centers, continuity of government. You know what a COG center, you know what those type of things are? Where they turn certain barracks or certain places or something that's real deep. The president might have 30 foot under the White House, where certain lead people in the government go, where they have pizza parlors and blockbusters and all kinds of stuff underground, where that's where they maintain the continuity of government, be able to run the government underground. So they have COG centers, but we don't have COG centers amongst us. So what they do, they leave the community to just fend for themselves while everything is going on. But they got 30 stories down under the White House. If you don't believe me, they show you this in movies like X-Men, where Magneto pulled up that storage area. But it shows you movies like the fall of another movie where they dealt with the White House. No, but they show you what Fall of Olympia. Yes, that movie. Yes, they show you those movies, and they've been showing you this year after year that they have to have it for the president. They have to have to get away and go where they got to go. And even in the movie Salt, they went down deep to go find the 30 floors or 30 stories down there. They show you in the movie. And the thing about America, I laugh about y'all. Yes, I laugh about you, America. I'm about to cut your ass off on Facebook. But I'm telling you, I laugh about you because you don't tell your secrets outright, but you tell it in the movies. You give them everything in the movies and what you're doing, what you're planning, and all that kind of stuff. So the terrorists are watching the movies. You tell them to hit the tower. You tell them this. You tell them what to do in the train station. You tell them what to do you tell them this. Stop talking. I'm telling you. Say again, brother. It was crazy, right? Powerful, and they using delegations to move in. China's delegation, Germany. What we need is a continuity of community. We need those type of centers for ourselves. Places like this where we could probably come together and huddle and have private meetings where the microphone is off, phones are off. We need to talk to each other, what we need to do, how. That'll be like Harriet Tubman again. We're not like that. Now, various disasters can happen in our region. Now, this is not going to be seen. Well, this is what they project that will disappear if a destruction happens in America. As you can see, New York, PA, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and they vanish. This is what they're expecting if certain disasters hit. This is the projection that they have. And I've had this for like probably 10 years. It's probably a little worse now. But this is what, they already said California was going to drop. That's already there. We already know around this area they've been hit already with the whole thing with the water. But if a tsunami hits, that's where it's going. It's gone. Yes, sir.
Can you tell me, they showed that about California leaving in San Andreas with the rock.
Yes, in the movie, the San Andreas, yes, with the rock. Very interesting movie, very good, very fun. I've been laughing at it, but he's right. But how many people have the money to have planes and do all those helicopters? Many of that people are gonna die. There's gonna be casualties in this. But I'm not saying, and that's why I said don't be afraid, because if you know and understand our African spiritual system, we keep on going, continue. The body doesn't die; we transform. We're not multiplying. I mean, we got multiplying in the spirit, but not physical. But we understand what happens. They've made us afraid of death through religion and different other things when we shouldn't have to be afraid of it. Never was our ancestors afraid of this. Never. Because we understood transition, understood ancestors. Even the Bible, they understood. That's why you're always seeing when Jesus stood on the mount, you see when Elias and Moses came down, his ancestors came down and showed themselves to him. They're real. And that is just the microcosmic of who you are. Once you know, that's what that book, the Bible, is all about, that story of you, the original people. And all we have to do is use it right and then become even greater than the master. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father who art in heaven is perfect. That's what he told us. So we playing games. We're not striving for this perfection. Something wrong. But let's not go there. Good. Now, various disasters, destructive weather and natural disasters, severe storms and floods, hurricanes, typhoons, tornadoes, droughts, heat and cold waves, earthquakes, volcanic eruption, and tsunamis. Emergent diseases, infectious disease, outbreaks, local epidemics, and pandemics. Various disasters again, weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapon detonation in major city or near a chemical refinery or nuclear power plant, dirty bomb detonation in major cities, biological agents, chemical weapons attack, environmental degradation, increased water and air pollution, leading to higher global cancer rates, genetic mutation, conflict over fresh water, tainted food supplies. Let me tell you something. Let me finish this first. Massive computer system failures and sabotage, power failures, disruption of commerce, government, transportation, water, purification and pumping stations shuts down, food, fuel, and medicine delivery disruption, nuclear power plants shut down, medical equipment malfunction, nuclear and other technological catastrophes, nuclear power plants, rail and aviation accidents, chemical and oil refinery fires, leaks and explosions, toxic spills, blackouts, water crisis, communication and transportation system failures. What do you think is happening in Puerto Rico today? Because it's a domino effect. Once a hurricane comes, it starts hitting the electrical grid, the water it affects. Then you're dealing with mosquitoes and dead things happening, and then it's coming to take over. Then it's coming up. All these little things happen. We don't know that one disaster can cause all these things. Gas lines breaking. All of this happens. It happens, brothers and sisters. Civil unrest, because people ain't got no food, riots and other breakdown of order. If y'all don't come together as a team and move as a team, then civil unrest will cause even more problems, because then you got the violent men that's coming out of prison and doing all that. They released like 600,000 prisons within the last 10 years. They're coming out to no job, and and when things really go down, then they're gonna really get scavenger. They're gonna really get savage, ratchet. Some of you don't know how to fight, protect yourself, don't know how to shoot a gun, don't know how to use a knife, don't know how to protect yourself or your family. That's gonna be the problem. Economic disaster, economic depression, massive unemployment, scarcity of unrest, terrorist attack by various means, car bombs, explosive devices, aircraft, sabotage, nuclear, biological, and radiological weapons, poison. And one of the big things is called the Black Swan event. And now, Aton has it in his book, the Black Swan event, which, man, when you read that, he says, out of all the disasters and emergencies that I described in this book, only one truly fills my heart with dread: the Black Swan event. A Black Swan event is a large-scale, rare, and unpredictable occurrence that has long-term effects for our society and can change the course of history. Nicholas Taleb, author of the book Black Swan, believes that all major historical situations, wars, scientific and artistic advancements and accomplishments are black swans, as were the attacks against the World Trade Center, even if some were aware that they would take place. I'm terribly concerned about a highly destructive black swan event developing over the next few years that will completely eclipse anything that we have experienced over the past 200 years. It could arise from a natural disaster or could be triggered by something human-made. I just know that we've created an extremely fragile system that could easily be unraveled, provided that the right string is pulled. My informed guess is that it will involve a large natural disaster that triggers a series of incidents that leads towards conflict. This is what he says in his book, Eitan Edwards. Make sure you get his book. It's on Amazon and Kindle. It's a very good book and it's very informative. Now, health and fitness. Now, anybody from 70 to 77 can do this disaster preparedness stuff. We also have disaster preparedness for people in wheelchairs, for babies, all of that kind of stuff. Because with children, you have to have comfort out of you. See how children like to play and go around. Make sure you have something that's a comfort. You know, bring the toys that they love, music you want to listen to. If you watch the book of Eli, he had Al Green playing his ears because there's times when you need to settle the mind. I Am Legend. He had to set up the store with mannequins like he was in it. Talking to Fred, hey Fred. So when Fred ended up somewhere else, that threw him off. That damn near drove him crazy. Fred, if you're alive, tell me you're alive now. Come on, Fred. Then he shot Fred up. Fred, I didn't want to do this to you, Fred. They didn't get psychology. Because if you're a man alone or a woman alone, you have to set yourself like the society is still running. That's why he knew Shrek word for word when that lady came. Because she and her son threw him off. Like, what the hell you got here? He's ready to kill them. Because now you're thinking that you're dreaming. And if you don't have your psychology right when times of disaster, and let's say there was a pandemic or some kind of epidemic that took out a lot of people, you wouldn't know who to trust. And that's what Aaron Neville, or his name Neville at that time, Robert Neville, had to deal with. So every time I point that part of the movie out because it was real to me. In fact, I started crying because my tears ran down my eyes because I understood that at a certain degree. It got into my mind. So I imagine all those are old movies from back in the day. It was real. So we have to pay attention to that. So back to health and fitness. Who remember this man, Dr. Sebi? Give him a round of applause. I share to our brother, Dr. Sebi, who always promoted health. Soul food is the unhealthy food, death food that many of us put in our temples. But what is soul food? Real soul food is that enhances the soul. Our central sun, our melanin, our carbon, our fruits, our vegetables, our grains. This is the real soul food, and that's what Dr. Sadie said. One of our great ones also, Baba Dick Gregory. Give him a round of applause. Our brother Dick Gregory. Miss you, brother. Miss both of y'all. The Almighty Creator gave us all we need to heal ourselves. Dick Gregory. Other healers and health practitioners in our community. Why I'm going into the health? Because a lot of us don't take care. I can still drop down and do 50 to 100 push-ups. I still work out, still train martial arts. I still do what I have 50 years and getting better, 50 and fabulous, doing what we do to maintain my health because it's necessary. Drinking all the waters before you go to bed, drinking the amount of water you need to drink for your body, continually doing what you got to do to take. I'll keep myself busy because people that are goal-orientated live longer. Goal-orientated live longer. You gotta, if you lazy and out there, you gonna die fast. You ain't doing nothing, you gonna die fast because you're wasting people's time and wasting people's life. You're wasting your own life. But if you're goal-orientated, you live longer. Set goals. And I set goals for my health to take it. I'm going on a detox right before my birthday. 52 days, people know I do numerology and all that stuff. I got a thing called the 52-day detox. Before my birthday, it's called a critical cycle. I'm going to be fasting and doing different things to cut down certain things. So I don't want to eat fish no more. I really want to cut that down. Every time I come over to their house, I'm cooking fish. I need to cut it down. I need to stop because I'm not raising it. So I'm not raising the fish. I'm not raising any meat. So I can't eat that no more. I got to really cut down as I'm going into my 51st birthday. Boom. Who know Queens of Four? Give Queen of Four a round of applause. That's our sister, Queen of Four. Still alive and well. Doing great works in Brooklyn, New York, and around the world. Big up to queenoffour.com, of course. And she said the power to heal is within us all, and we have the power to heal ourselves. Make sure you get her books. And of course, that's the Queen is Full of Wellness Center. She got a new institute and new office in Brooklyn. Make sure you check her out. Got to big up our elders all the time. When there's a dysfunction in melanin, there will be dysfunction in the natural metabolic process, further curtailing weight loss effects. This is one of our healers in the community. Her name is Makeba Judge. Give her a round of applause. The young ones are coming up doing what they got to do. Give her a round of applause. She has a website called Pedalwise. She's a natural gynecologist for women. Natural gynecologist. No chemical, none of that stuff. She tells you what to do natural. All her products is biodegradable. All of her stuff. She deals with Chinese, African medicine, acupuncture, all that stuff. That's what she deals with. She deals with it from a holistic perspective. She married a dear friend of mine named Tito, good brother for many years I've known. I respect them, and I love and respect all of the people that I put up here. That's her book, and that book is called Healthy Curvy. You can get it on Amazon and Kindle, especially for the sisters. Protecting that body is very important. That temple is very important. Non-perishable food with 25-year shelf life and other info. This is Nirvana. This is one of the stuff that we promote on the International Preparedness Network through our website, readyforanything.org. But you can go to their website, nirvana.com, and make sure you get these are wholesome foods, natural food, non-GMO foods, gourmet type foods that last for 25 years. Has a 25-year shelf life. Very good food. Also, our brother, Dr. Laila Africa, give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. Dr. Laila Africa. That's his book called Holistic Self-Diagnostics. That's a very good book that you should get. I have all of his book. So I just had him in New York on November 12th. I'm trying to bring him here. He said he's willing to come here and speak. So let's bring Dr. Africa here soon. I know he's been here before, so numerous times. Of course, that's him and his wife over here. That's him and his wife, Melody, Dr. Melanie Stevens, who is a holistic practitioner herself, doctor of massage and acupuncture and all that. So enough respect to her. Also, this is Abdul Rashid or Abdul Hakim. He wrote the book Basic Herbs. He's from Sundial. If anybody ever had the Caramanti or the Sundial product, that's the man. That's the man that took us around and walked us through the park and showed us what we can eat and what we can't eat. He's still alive and well. He goes back and forth to Ethiopia. Here's Aton's book. You make sure you get that book on Amazon and Kindle. Preparedness Now. No, I did not come and sell. I didn't come here to sell. I come here to teach and bring the information real quick. That's our brother Aton Edwards. He was matter of fact, he used to win. He won Apollo like 5 times. Doing comedy, but he did the bad guy comedy. And this brother has been doing his work for many years since. Enough respect to him. Also, health and fitness is the foundation of survival or for survival. The most important aspect of any emergency preparedness or survival program is your physical health. Good health is the foundation that your life depends upon, especially during disasters. You may be required to walk long distance, lift heavy objects, go without sleep for long periods of time, and even live for days and weeks exposed to the elements outdoors. Being physically fit will allow you to handle these stressful and demanding possibilities much better than someone who is out of shape and unhealthy. Poor Wendy Williams fell out. Talk about she overheated. Girl, you need help. You have health problems. Stop playing. You don't laugh. She was something else. I was like, Lord, have mercy, girl. Yeah, they pushed that. Yeah, they might have shocked her with some kind of laser light, right? I read her numbers, and I know she was in a health cycle, a serious health cycle that she had to. Once I started reading numbers, it tells me all that stuff. Age is not an excuse. It doesn't matter what age you might be. A fit and healthy 75-year-old will be in much better position to physically manage a disaster than an unfit 25-year-old. Stop right there for a minute. Dr. Africa is 74 years old. He runs every day, does 300 to 500 push-ups a day, 300 to 500 sit-ups a day at 74. His abdominals is phenomenal. I put mine up to him and said, Doc, I feel sheer. Mine, you look better than mine. I'm 50. So and he started laughing. But it's true. Doc is tight. Big up to Dr. Africa. This rule also applies to the physically challenged. No matter who you may be, improving and maintaining your health is not an option in today's troubled times. It is a necessity. Now, this is some of the brief things about the grab and go kit, the E-kit. Those who don't understand what an E-kit is the emergency kit. We're going to run through this real quick. Probably show you a few things that we run through. I'm not going to show you everything because you don't need to know everything, but you need to know the basics. We got that. But in our extensive 12-hour class, we actually go through every tool on how it works in a disaster class. It's 12 hours. So everything is explained and everything is well broken down, especially when I bring the team here each day. And then if they allow us to go into one of these parks or we could get a backyard somewhere that y'all might own, we take you to a 12-year park run showing you how to start fires and all that kind of stuff. I understand there's a few brothers and sisters that's out here doing it too. I got to respect, I forgot the brother's name, but I know I have his book. I know it's an African name. I keep on botching it up. I don't want to debacle it up and put it into any, mess it up, but E-kit and grab and go bag, or what Professor Griff called the bug out bag or the blackout bag. Very good. Also study Professor Griff. I know he lives out here and he has different classes, so pick up Professor Griff all the time. He's Kevon Shaw on Facebook, so make sure you link up with Professor. Reminder, in Preparedness Now, page 34, preparation, projecting, information, storage, preventative measures, psychology, and of course, help. Very important. What is an E-kit? An E-kit, the emergency kit, this contains crucial emergency response items like flashlights, smoke escape hoods, multi-tool, pocket knives, and other items. In an emergency, the E-kit can make the difference between safety and severe injury or death. The equipment in your E-kit must be of the highest quality you can afford. To be of any use, it should be carried with you at all times in your purse, your briefcase, your backpack, or ideally in a sturdy pouch worn on the strong belt. That's on page 35 of Preparedness Now. What is the grab and go bag? The grab and go bag or the bug out bag or the blackout bag, like my man Griff says, this is a large emergency preparedness bag for your home. Grab and go bags contain material and equipment that will provide you and each member of your family with a minimal 3 days or 1 to 2 weeks supply of food, water, first aid, and other important survival items for home, car, or office, wherever you're working, whatever you're doing. You can do this. It can be done. These are examples of an emergency kit that we usually have, and it has all the different components. I'm going to show you one of the ones that I have myself. Let me see here. With multi-tools. Now, an E-kit can contain a multi-tool, which is like it can range from $8 to $150, depending on the durability and what type of tool you want to work with. It's like the Leatherman is good. If you got the Leatherman tool, which I have that in my case. Flashlights, they can last from $3 to $175, but it must be a non-incendive flashlight / waterproof. A lot of people don't know that certain flashlight can cause gas explosion, especially if it's not waterproof or non-incendive, because the spark inside the flashlight, if it's not waterproof or hermetically sealed, that spark, you searching for the gas or you're in a gas situation, or you can set off the spark in the flashlight can set off a disaster. Gotta pay attention to what you're buying, because the things that they call waterproof or water resistant, a water resistant flashlight is not a waterproof flashlight. Yes. There's certain flashlights, mag lights, those are good mag lights. I mean, like if I have flashlights that I'm ready for. Yes, please. Yes, what you can tell, let me show you something. Let me show you a flashlight that's waterproof or hermetically sealed. Definitely not this one, but this is a good flashlight, but that's when you're outside of those situations. Life Gear. Life Gear is a very good flashlight. You might have some at home. What you say, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to get you one of those. We're going to make sure you have. Now, certain ones of them have the rubber sealant inside. Always look for the rubber sealant inside. These are rubber sealants that stop the water from going through and corrupting the battery or corroding the battery. That's when you find out if it works. And of course, this has to be a protective, strong lithium. They got the lithium battery ones. That's the Maglite. They usually have the police ones. They get very good if you want to get those. And they got different. In Aton book, he has different brands in here. But this is one of our sponsors, Life Gear. It's one of our sponsors. So I do recommend Life Gear if you go on the website. And there's nothing wrong with the ones that are not, but you can't use it in certain areas. You got to know when you're in a gas situation, but we would prefer you to get a hermetically sealed or non-incendive flashlight so you can protect yourself regardless. Make sure you have all of them. Now this one, I've had this for 20 years. Now this is not hermetically sealed. This is a Russian pumper. This is when you know you're safe. You better be outside doing something, because even the sound, you got to be careful of the sound. So you got to make sure you're safe and wherever you go when you have a Russian pumper. These are my backup flashlights. I always have at least 3 to 4 flashlights with me all the time. All the time. 3 to 4 knives with me all the time. 3 to 4 water procurement instruments all the time. It's very important to have that. Just in case one breaks down, you make sure you have another. Make sure, and that's why I have the Russian pumper, because this doesn't need batteries. Just in case I don't have any battery run out. And there's little tricks you do with the battery, you know? If there is, this is a good flashlight, but if you want to protect the battery, put plastic over it. Stop the electrical grid from going through, the energy from going through. You protect, and you protect the flashlight, you protect the energy of the flashlight so you don't run out of battery. So you don't be looking for batteries at that time. You got to make sure everything is still working. The worst thing to be in a disaster and then don't have batteries. Worst thing to be in a bad disaster. Don't have candles. Then a light. I have waterproof matches with me in case of emergency. So everything is important if you know what you're buying and what you're doing. And that's why I love Aton's book, because even one of these strong water carriers, this is for water to carry with you just in case, or fill it with water. But these are one of the strong plastic that I was talking about. But once you get to a place where you can transfer your water to whether glass or steel, do so. But this is just to carry with you. And this here, a lot of y'all ain't seeing it, but this is dealing with the life straw. This life straw actually filters 820 gallons of water. Very light. Pass it around. Very light. Matter of fact, let me take it out and you can look at it. Hold on. Very light, but it can hang around your neck. Very light. Pass it around. Look at it. It's called Life Straw. Lifestraw.com, Facebook, lifestraw.com. Very light. You can carry this in one of your bags. Water. Just in case you can go through the toilet, go to the back of the toilet, you can go for the tub, wherever you want to go. You can go online about from horse dung or cow dung to clean water, Life Straw. That's right. You can be drinking horse doodle water, and Life Straw will clean it out. That's how good it is. They already got the test. You know white folks are doing it, right? Shut up. Don't laugh. I'm just saying. They do anything. It's all right. Let them do it. So I know that I can use it. You be the crash dummy. You know what I'm saying, brother? They can be the crash dummy. Go ahead. Drink out the doodle. Got this. But that's one of the things. Okay. Of course, a mini pry bar. Always carry one of those mini pry bars. Mini pry bar, get yourself in and out of certain situations. You got, hey, I'm not robbing nobody. Just get in and out of situations. Dig out through walls where you got plywood. You want to get out through certain things, like, of course, sheetrock. You got certain places that made out sheet, but you got to get through. This works. It's multi-use with all of my stuff. You got to know how to adapt and improvise. That's why it's called IATA. We improvise and adapt. I'm showing them all this stuff, not all of it, but I'm going to show them a lot. Of course, many pry bar, the pouch, usually the pouches cost like 10. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. Usually the pouch costs $10 to $60. pocket EMT tool in the pouches. These are my medical supplies. I don't want to really take it out, but this is my medical supplies. I have a lot of my gear, a lot of the same shears and cut tools. I have that just in case of certain abrasions. If I have to help heal somebody or help type a tourniquet or whatever I got to do. Getting basic life saving skills. Go to Red Cross here in Georgia. It's all right. Go study with Red Cross. They got those classes for like $40 or $50. And then they give you credentials to walk around with, just in case. Credentials during times of disasters are very important. Remember I Am Legend when they try to hold his wife back. Check her again. I am Colonel such and such and such and such. Credentials are very important during times of disaster. And if you're working with them and they see you as a non-threat like Red Cross or something like that, you might not be really fully a part of it. But you need certain credentials to move. If you're a police officer, former police, just know the jargon and know the language. That's all. It gets serious, though. It can get serious. It can get real serious in real time. A whistle. Yeah, we got whistles. We got sound whistles that runs from $2 up. And why do we have a whistle? Just in case you were stuck inside a place underground and nobody can't hear the whistle. That's the only breath you have in your lungs is just to blow a whistle. That's how some people got saved during the World Trade. They was able to that last bit, damn rockets on your chest. Sometimes that whistle in your pocket. I have it right here in my bag too. One of them high-pitched whistles I have. I wouldn't even blow it in here. But it's very important that you understand those type of dynamics. Just little things like a whistle. A small first aid pouch. That's my small first aid pouch. $15 and up. An escaper personal smoke hood. I have that in this one. The black thing on the top. That's the personal escape hood. What it does, it filters air. It filters any smoke or gas through that apparatus. And any type of gas is smoke at any time for at least 20 minutes to a half an hour to get to where you got to go and get the hell out. Especially while I'm traveling on a train and let's say the train got inundated with smoke and all that. I got to be able to get out. Smoke hoods. You can go to smokehood.com or escaper.com, X spelled with the X, myescaper.com, and check out those smoke hoods, or go to smokehood.com. The most expensive smoke hood is on Air Force One. President would have the most expensive smoke hood. That's real. Okay? Also, butane lighter. Best butane lighter is Bic. Bic lighter is one of the best. Bic lighter. I know when we used to smoke weed and ganja, everybody used to have a Bic lighter. We don't have that right now. Box of waterproof matches, EMT shares, 500-pound test, a 550-pound test cord. I have the 550-pound test cord here too. Inside here, that's a little green stuff right here, the little green one here. That can hold up to 550 pounds in weight. Over that, your ass falling. Yes, sir. Right, exactly. They come around the knife, but you can buy the cord at any length if you want, and they're really cheap, like $8.99, $10. You really don't have to spend that much for any rip cord, but some of it can help you lower down from buildings or tie certain things up, or tie a person up if they're getting out of order. If you don't have duct tape, you tie somebody up. Yes, ma'am.
All those cords that come on your bracelets.
Yes, they make them out of those bracelets too.
Walmart, you make bracelets.
Yes, you can make the bracelets. Yeah. On that cord.
Yeah, they have a book at Walmart. We live by our house. About the different bracelets you can make
with those same cords. Yeah, those cords are all over the place, but a lot of people don't know the use of those cords. We practice this stuff all the time. Yeah, a high end e-kit can cost between $700 down to $30. Oh, yes, that is one of the cords. Yes. Well, it's made with so many other cords inside. That's why, to make the strength. Yes, to bring the strength. Other nylon cords inside. That's how they make the strength of the cord. So it holds 550-pound weight. So how much do you weigh about? You don't have to worry about it. If you're climbing down on that thing, you all right. But if you're about 551, guess what? That cord gonna pop. saying. Oh, man. I'm just funny. Okay, I just ran through. Bicycles, if you can't, let me tell you something. Disasters, family. If you can't drive out, you're going to have to walk it or ride out. If you can't drive, because during times of disasters, and we're going to be finishing up in a few seconds, during time of disasters, the highway is going to be packed. You see, early morning, how many of y'all drive to Atlanta early in the morning to get to work? Think about that, and then think about that 10 times worse during times of disaster. You see people roller skating through there. Of course. In New York, it happens too. I'm riding my bike. Certain tools you need to have, shotguns. Of course, we need to have that, yes. Ain't nothing wrong. That's it. That's my brother, yes.
Here in Georgia, typical white families teach their children how to use a shotgun at the age of 8.
Of course.
And they buy their child their first shotgun at the age of 8.
Really?
I was working at a sports store. I learned all kinds of stuff by the nice country white people.
You learned that? Yeah, you was in a sports store. That's right, you was. Hold on 1 second. Okay, let me just run down this is about the last of it. Why the e-kit and why the grab-and-go bag? Combined with the e-kit, your grab-and-go bag contains everything: food, water, shelter, first aid, etc. that you and your family need to survive a disaster for 7 to 10 days. And current 72-hour, 3-day minimum suggested by the Red Cross and the federal government is too conservative. A disaster that requires you to use a grab-and-go bag will almost always extend well beyond 3 days. In case of critical emergency supplies, food, water, and medicine, what our classes entail: 1, personal kit, individual response to disaster; 2, personal kit, tool, the dynamics; 3, the grab-and-go bag, dynamic content and types; 4, emergency evacuation protocol. Emergency communication is 5 and protocol. 6, nuclear, biological, and chemical and emergency protocols. 7, emergency food and water procurement, storage, and filtration. 8, urban gardening, that's in our program. 9, emergency shelter. 10, emergency power, renewable energy, basic and heating. 11, emergency sanitation, urban. 12, emergency transportation. 13, basic life-saving skills, BSAC. And 14, personal defense. 15, emergency protocols for pets also. If you got a dog, you want to save Fifi. We try to show you how to save Fifi, all the cats and the dogs. Unless you want to end up eating Fifi, that's up to you. I'm sorry. If you got to eat Fifi, you become, yes, I am Chinese. I eat Fifi. I'm just saying. Join the Ready Up movement. Ready Up New York, Ready Up Atlanta, Ready Up Georgia. Escape from the grid. And remember, this is, of course, myself. Blue Pill was on an emergency walk with us, read from No Ledge Radio, and a brother named Ron, a good brother of ours. That was one of our emergency walks. That's when we walked like 21 miles from Brooklyn to the Bronx, because in New York, if you're ever in New York, Bronx is the mainland. Everywhere else is an island. Bronx is the mainland. So we trucked it all the way up through one of our routes to get to the Bronx, 21 miles. We did that walk in a whole day. And it's not like you're walking like soldiers. We walk in a social way, but it's at a certain pace. Just showing you how to get through the city when disasters happen, and where to go, what to go up to, and all that kind of stuff. Walking through certain parks where you can find certain foods and all that. Central Park we passed Inwood Park, all the way up to the tip of Manhattan, crossed over into the Bronx and all that kind of stuff. That's very important. So that was what we call our 21 to 25 mile Ready Up evacuation walk, which can be done in any city, any state, as long as we know the terrain, and we would study the terrain and do that same walk. Yes, me smiling, of course, with my stuff on, Whoever you are, please remember these important facts. Our survival over the next few years depends on what you know, what you can rapidly learn, and how much you can take and, in many cases, give, barter. What you can give and take, that's what's going to be important. Extreme event survival takes a combination of strength, wisdom, knowledge, and sometimes luck. It is up to you to select the order. Make sure to choose wisely. Remember, it is always better to have and not need than to need and not have. Santi Sana, thank you very much, family. The Creator and the ancestors bless all of you. Thank y'all very much, family. That was it. That was it. If you want to get all of this, you want to get this all, it's going to be on my Facebook. I'll share it with you if you want. If you're on Facebook, I'll share it on you. I'm going to cut it down Facebook. I'm out of here. I'm going to just talk to the people after this. Y'all are going to get the rest of this, but I'm going to finish this. Thank y'all very much. Calfani, you're watching. Go ahead. Military boy. What up? There's enough people. It was about an hour and 45 minutes of this. If y'all